Ahmed worked as a farm laborer in Saskatchewan for the first 4.5 years. He worked very hard. Then in the 30s, the Depression hit. So tell me about the Depression. What was your experience like?
Wind. Wind comes from the east or the west or north or south, wherever the wind comes from, a strong wind, and lift the dirt off the ground with the seed in the ground, lift them all and put them somewhere else in the lowland, low places, ditches, even take them to the rivers, wherever it is. River dried, no water, wells dried, there's no water, and no crops. So people, especially in the three provinces, mainly Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta, Saskatchewan the worst. The government had to give relief. Citizens of Ontario and east, like Newfoundland and all those places, Nova Scotia, they didn't have no depression, so they had plenty of food. And most of that food they had is the cod fish. So they give you a quota, but you have to have codfish first. If you don't have codfish, you don't get anything. Well, I already got a codfish. It doesn't matter. You have to have codfish. So they throw out any place they can get to. Ditches mainly. Then when the snow falls, cover them up until spring. Snow thawed, and the codfish appeared. Well, if you happen to travel on the road and you have difficulties with it, at that time you have difficulties with cars, especially flat tires. You go to the ditch to find a stone or 2x4 or something like that, you find codfish. And you use them to elevate your car.
You put your codfish under the car?
Under the wheel. You put one fish on top of the other, then they'll hold.
The Depression went on for 6 years. Farmers lost their crops, and Ahmed received no wages. So he went to work at his cousin's store in Cold Lake, Alberta.
When I went to this store to learn a bit about the business, worked for 10 months for nothing, just from my board, I learned about business, and I came back. Then by that time, there was crops. I worked for wages, and I earned wages. Then this fellow who had a store, big store my brother working in, he says, I'm going to open a store and I'm going to let you manage it. I said, manage it? I could work with somebody else, but I said, manage it like this, my English and all this, you'll learn.
Did you speak English at the time?
Very little.
Ahmed finally bought the store and started his own business. It flourished. And alongside that, his faith flourished too. When you first arrived and you were working on the farm, how difficult was it for you to practice your faith?
Very difficult. As I say, very little, very few Muslims were practicing their faith then. Very difficult.
Were you able to do your prayers throughout the day?
No. I think I was young, I was not taking the religion serious enough, but you're supposed to pray. But now I don't miss one prayer. I learned the Quran in this country. Learn the religion in this country, it's just like I learn a language. Both languages. I used to study at night. They go to bed and I study at night. I could read and write, but I could not speak. Because only certain ones that spoke to me until I communicate. Best schooling I had in business, take and give from the customers. You learn as you go on.
In what ways were you able to help build a strong Muslim community?
I came to London on account of family because there were Muslims in London, and I had a big store, a big business. sacrificed that business to move to the east and build a mosque. Very few Muslims in Canada. Canadian were mostly Anglo-Saxons. Then by and by, the ethnic groups become more. Now, take, for instance, in London, when we built the first mosque, only a few, and I was one of them. In fact, started by two, Mr. Hassan and me. Then the community right now, instead of counting by dozens, about 30, 40,000 people.
What was your operating principle that guided you to make your store a success?
Honesty.
Tell me about that.
Honesty, you establish honesty right at the beginning. Say, for instance, if a person gives you a change, say $20 bill, and you buy only $5 worth or something like that, or $2 worth, and he give you $20 bill. Sometimes that person forgets whether he gave you 10 or 20 or whatever. If they didn't wait on me to give him the right change, I follow him right to the door. And I just overheard how many men will do that. And that's a good advertisement for the business. As a matter of fact, I could perform marriage. And the person who performed marriage, you pay him. I never charged one person for performing the marriage. Not one. I said, I wouldn't take it. Well, it's yours, you perform that. I have my own business. I don't make a living out of this. I make my living in the store. Honest living. And that's it. And more I do that, more I refuse, more money I make in the store. Some way, somehow, I did business. Abraham Lincoln said, and he was justified in what he said, the government of the people, by the people shall never perish. He wasn't a Muslim, but his words are Islamic. It's just like Mackenzie says, every politician lie, including you, Mr. King, yeah, including me. But the other parties lie more. He won that constituency by these words.
Why did you feel it was very important to be honest and to have that as a guiding principle?
Because Islam, or any religion, not only Islam, any prophet, teach you honesty. Honesty with yourself, honesty with God. This is the only thing that exists. A crooked business does not succeed. If it succeeds a little bit, but it will not succeed to the end. You always have to pay for it if you did bad things. But honesty never fails.